of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
There were leopards and there were lions calling right into the night. Will we find them? This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Sunrise Safari. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is the very fashionable Senzo, wearing his latest big green puffy jacket, which I believe must have been just bought from Johannesburg. I'm sure, Senzo, that's going to keep you nice and cozy this morning. Now, of course, as you know, for those, well, that are watching, have been watching for the last couple of years, for a few months, or perhaps you've only just started watching us this morning. I get tongue-tied quite often, but if you'd like to ask us any questions on this live and interactive safari, you can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and we can have lots of chats. And quite exciting this morning, as I mentioned just previously, just a moment ago, all that could be heard last night were leopards soaring, I presume Tingana. We could hear lions calling in the very far distance, then they came really close, and then they ended up calling very far away again, so they must have just moved through the property. So now it is a race against time to see if we can catch any of those particular animals while they're still moving through the areas we can traverse on. So we've decided to come down Shibamu Road this morning and just check around here. It's a great road for tracking. The soil is nice and soft and sandy, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up on something that's been walking around here. But it isn't just me out driving today. The Mara team is all powered up and also ready to start the day, and as well as Ali and Craig are on Rusty, driving with us into the Sabi Sands. Now, hello little birdie. This is one that I haven't seen for quite some time. It is Shavambalana, not the leopard. Don't get too excited, though it does have spots too. But this is an emerald spotted wood dove. That is just the Shangaan name for this particular bird, and it doesn't seem to be quite bothered by us. This morning, it's just starting off its day, walking just as doves do in a serpentine sort of fashion, and pecking at the ground looking for all sorts of delicious treats. But like I said, Ali is on Rusty with Craig manning the camera, and they're all wrapped up, keeping nice and warm. Let's go across to them and say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. We are looking at the very beautiful clouds that are making our weather slightly warmer today. Isn't that pretty, all those clouds all around us? My name is Ali, and on camera today I've got Craig with me, and we are exploring the northern side of Djuma Game Reserve, while Taylor explores the southern part to see what we can find this morning. This is eventually will lead us to the last area where Tingana was spotted, so we just want to see if maybe his tracks come back in, or if he's just decided to go for a bit of a stroll all the way into Buffelshoek. Like I said, the weather today is quite interesting. It happens every now and again during the winter time that we would get these beautiful clouds, and then they come in, and then just as they go, then that is a very good sign that we're going to have a cold front, and then the temperature is going to drop suddenly, and we are going to be freezing even more. Today is not too bad. I believe the temperature is 59 Fahrenheit and 15 Celsius. So warm enough. I don't think we'll be doing too much complaining today, which is always good. And I think we can brave the weather. Almost seems like the sun wants to start breaking through the clouds, but it seems like the cover is quite thick in some of the spots. But imagine how pretty it would be to have a sunrise with all these clouds. I mean, you can just perfectly see it in the front, and just, you know, all of them thick. And I do think that the perfect combination for a beautiful sunrise or sunset is just to have a massive amount of clouds, because then they filter the colors and you get a wider range of oranges and pinks and purples and everything else. So I think I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll be able to get something. If not, well, then we can carry on hoping for this afternoon when the sun goes down. I just want to check carefully on the road, because you never know, lions might have walked around here. And I think after looking at so many tiny tracks for leopards yesterday, I'd welcome a very big, nice, huge lion track. And of course, we always love to hear from you guys, so if you've got any questions, you are more than welcome to use the hashtag Safari Live and let us know anything that might pop into your mind. In the meantime, why don't we go over to the Masai Mara and say hello to Brent and a spotted friend, I believe.
Welcome to the Masai Mara, and we're with the local clan of hyenas that live below our camp, and you can see that they've had a busy night. Black, muddy, full of blood. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave Easter on camera, and there's another hyena that's just arrived. Oh no, it's just flopped down in the long grass up there, also black and full of blood, and it's quite interesting to try figure out what is going on here. I'm pretty sure, from what I could hear last night, there was murder and mayhem in the valley. And we actually, after you saw us driving in the rain last night, we came across some very distressed zebras, and in a very rocky area. What is that noise? Dave, just go to that hyena, it's talking. Now, I wonder if there are lions about. Now, we heard lions roaring further to the east of us, and their heads were up and they were listening carefully. Now, I wonder if they made a kill or did they steal last night. These hyenas are adept at both. Now, as I was saying, we saw this very nervous zebra on the road. And I was like, oh, these zebra look very nervous. And it was on a really rocky section of the road, right up on the edge of the mountain. And then all of a sudden, this hyena came charging, trying to separate the foal. And I think it's a tactic they use, these hyenas that live up against the escarpment. They chase zebra and other animals in those rocks, causing them to either fall down or possibly break a leg. And then obviously, it's all over for them from there. Now, Pierre is wondering how many clans of hyena do we have in this area? Ooh, Pierre, many. There's just in this little area below our camp, there are at least 2 clans. Then there's North Clan, South Clan, Laughing, Happy Zebra Clan. Then there's another clan, Ngiro Ari clan. In the triangle, I'd probably say there's Paradise Valley clan. There's at least 10 clans, and all of them are pretty big by Southern African standards. I'd say this clan's probably close on 40. There's another clan of about 50, 60 down towards the airstrip. North Clan is the biggest I know about close to us, and they're close to 90. Pierre's also wondering how many different species of hyena do we get here. Well, in Kenya you get 2 different species. You get striped hyena and you get spotted hyena. Now, we're not going to see any striped hyena down here in the Mara, and that's just because there's so many spotties. Look at that, ears up. I heard lions again. I think I might have a wander into that direction just now to see if we can find that lion. It sounded like one of the male lions. Okay. Now, I know you had lots of lions roaring at Djuma last night, so hopefully we can both find our roaring lions this morning.
Hello again, everybody. This morning, because I haven't seen any leopard tracks crossing into any of the properties. So we went down Shibama all the way towards Gari Main, and now we're driving on it towards Twin Dams, and typically this area is littered with leopard tracks first thing. Not even one. not even any hyena activity. I think I saw one set of tracks from a hyena a little bit further back. So that makes me a bit sad. So I don't know where these leopards could be. So we're just going to have a quick scratch around here, but I think we're going to go back and then around towards Treehouse Dam, maybe drive Elephant Carcass. Let's just have a quick look here at Buffalo Pan. Not Buffalo Pan, Baboon Pan. Sometimes these cats like to sit around here. It doesn't seem like there's anything at all. No, not even an impala to show you. Okay, let's check the dam very quickly. Have a look around here. Ooh, what's this? What's been walking here? Nothing. A tire track. Okay, well, we're going to jump back on board with Ali now and see if she's found any footprints to start her morning off.
I think Taylor's managed to find footprints ahead of us. We have just passed the area where we left off Tingana yesterday, and we haven't come across any tracks yet. He was moving in, in a north or an easterly direction rather. So it's very possible that he just carried on going on to Buffelshoek and then Torchwood and then did a big loop around, because apparently that's what he likes doing. He likes being everywhere and walking a lot and confusing everyone. So we haven't had much luck all the way up here. So, sorry, I'm just looking at a... Okay, no, that's a Terminalia. Was just looking at a bit of a tree that seemed a bit confusing and that I hadn't seen him. I still have my little branch of the tree of forgetfulness. So worst case scenario, we can just forget everything. And we'll carry on. I would like to see some vultures this morning as well. Not maybe because of an indication of a kill, but maybe we'll be able to have a nice look at them, because it's definitely not warm enough for them to start moving around or start flying. So if they are anywhere, they'll be on the tops of the trees waiting for the air to warm up so that they can start circling and going up. What I have seen, however, is lots of signs of elephants coming around here. Lots of branches on the road, new branches, tracks every now and again. So I wonder if perhaps they're not up here somewhere. Would be nice to find them. Let's see, what is around here? Well, you see, this is a clear sign that they've been around here. Let me just show you how we know this, so that you can... By the looks of the tree, they haven't been here too recently, because the plant is, or part of the plant is already dead. I'm gonna lose my mic. Sorry. Let's just put this in the pocket so that it doesn't fall over. So you see, over here. So a lot of the times it is them who come, and the only reason why I'm going to say that it's potentially them that have been breaking everything is because of this particular branch that has also fallen down, and it's quite a sturdy tree. It's this is what we call a, hey, don't attack me, a giant bush willow. Very, very, also because it's part of the bush willow family, it's very hardy, very what do you call it, heavy type of wood. So they've managed to break down this branch pretty much from the base over there, and sometimes it's the young boys who do it just to show that they're very strong, or sometimes it's the mothers because they want to get to the very top of the leaves. I am fully convinced that the leaves on the top taste better, probably because they are closer to the sun and they probably produce a lot more sugar and carbohydrates in the process of photosynthesis. So over here you can also see that they've been sort of trying to eat, and then there are a lot of bruises on the tree and just a bit of sap. So I think this tree will be fine. We're not looking at a particular crime scene. I feel like I'm in a jungle here. But it's a good indication that they've been around here. Also, dead giveaway, this pile of dung that is right here. So this one clearly old. Probably at the same time as this branch was broken down and it started dying. Very, very old. You see, everything is dry in there, just bits of pieces of twigs and what else is in here? Well, I don't seem to see too many fruits. So I don't think this elephant was feeding on too many of them. Probably it's a piece of dung. Ah, termites! My goodness, I'm sorry. I destroyed part of your home. I just want to show you guys so that you can see them all around here. Do you see those tiny little heads moving around of white bodies in the middle of this? So these are all workers from a termite mound. So I'm sure there's one not too far from here, and a lot of the times they come into the elephant dung and they start feeding on it, and they'll take it back onto the termite mound, and then they'll go, judging by the size and the color of this ones, I'm pretty sure these are fungus growing termites. So they'll take whatever it is that they've eaten, they'll take it down to the mound and the chambers where they have pretty much all of their food, and they'll start regurgitating everything that they've eaten. And they're going to make a paste, and then they're going to put that paste in order, like little lines. And in those little lines, there's going to be a fungus that's going to be growing, and that's what the workers are going to use to feed everyone, especially the queen and the little babies and everything else moving around. But these are definitely some of my favorite little creatures out here. I just love how they're always busy, always working, always up to something. And probably very active today. It is slightly cold, and it's a good indication that, you know, we're not going to be expecting too much of a hot weather for the next few minutes, because sunshine rather, because they are white. So you see, they don't really have a lot of pigments, and if they were to be exposed to the sun, then they would probably pretty much burn off like a fried egg, something along those lines, almost instantly, because they have no melanin. So they cannot absorb they will just absorb actually the UV light, and it will cause them to burn. Other animals like the ants or other species of termites, they actually have different colors, and that is what allows them to move during the day, especially when it's slightly hot. This is why this particular type of termites, they will go underground, or they will only start moving around as it gets warmer. I'm gonna put this house that I've taken from the ground all the way back exactly where it was, so that they won't be too disturbed, and probably get rid of all of the remainder of dung that I have in my hands. Alright, let me just jump in here. Sometimes I feel quite tiny when I have to jump into these cars from, you know, almost like a ditch. And I feel that I am such a big person. Alright, well, thank you, termites. That was a nice surprise. You see, it's always funny that, you know, you'll grab something, you'll open it up, and you're like, oh, there was something else living here. Wonderful. I see more branches up ahead, so maybe more elephants down on the road. But why don't we go to Taylor and see how her elephant search is going?
Ali, it's actually really funny that you just mentioned that, because I found something quite strange and I need to show you this. I've never seen anything quite like it before. Let me just pull off of the road, and I'm actually going to jump out the car to show you, because this is bizarre. Really bizarre. I didn't know that elephants burrowed themselves into termite mounds at night, but look at it. You can clearly see that one has come out from underneath this hole. Can you see that? There's even dung inside here. Now, I don't want to pick it up because it's wet and I have gloves on. Not that I'm scared of dung, but no, it's gone inside. But there's actually a whole entire piece of dung right inside this termite mound. And of course, I'm talking nonsense. Elephants do not come out of termite mounds, but I thought it just seemed so fitting. It was really, really quite cool. But it's from a young elephant, and we just picked up on these tracks. Also, some, well, the tracks are down here, but also fresh dung. And we've come from that side and we didn't see anything. So let's go back towards Treehouse Dam. We're not far from it now. And perhaps, I'm tangled. Perhaps we shall find them waiting for us, just feeding along this drainage line. So let's go and have a look. Come on, Wendy, turn on the road. Go the long way around with Wendy. Okay, so that's good to know. That's sort of the first sign of life, other than that emerald spotted wood dove. That's the only other thing we've seen this morning. So quite nice. Right, over these little bumps, and then we've just got to go around the corner. Actually, no, I think we've still got a long way to go. I think I may have misled all of you. We've still got a... Oh, hi, Impala. Well, that's fine. You'll do. But don't run away. Come back. No, he stopped. Did you see that? There he goes. So he's quite sneaky this morning. He was obviously just off to the side and started bouncing around. But but now he's just watching us. Hey, boy. Oh, that's why he's looking back and waiting. He's waiting for his friends, which are heading straight towards him now. You'll see that his partner, well, not quite his partner, but there he is. His fellow that forms the rest of his little bachelor herd. Now, it seemed as though we were hot on the heels, or we are hot on the heels of some elephants. Grant, you were wondering if marula fruits really make the elephants as drunk as what you see. Well, not drunk, that's a horrible word. Intoxicated is a better choice of word. As you see in the YouTube videos. Now, unfortunately, Grant, that is an old wives' tale. There are many myths and legends out here in the bush. But that one we can put to rest, though. As a child, it does make for a really nice little fairy tale, I suppose. So what actually happens is it would mean that an elephant needs to eat marulas basically the entire day for it to be able, and not anything else. So it needs to eat 5% of its body weight just in marulas, and then possibly it could become slightly intoxicated, but that's honestly, it's absolutely impossible. So their digestive system is so poor that the fruit does not ferment long enough in their stomachs either way. And I've never quite picked up a marula even off of the ground and put it in my mouth and went, it's been fermented. There's a whole fermentation process. You need to remove the skins, and James actually makes quite a nice marula beer too. Or you can make it, it depends how long you have it for. Otherwise you can just have a marula juice. The longer you leave it, like I said, the fizzier it goes, and then it becomes quite a potent beer. So unfortunately, Grant, that is just a little myth. But we'll see. Maybe we find some elephants and then we can ask them what they think. But they love them. It wouldn't surprise me if they just ate marulas all in one go during the summer months. Oh, I'm going to sneeze now. Excuse me, first one for the morning. Many more to come, I'm sure. Again, it's just allergies. I'm not becoming ill or anything along those lines. But in the summer months, it's so funny looking through elephant dung, because pretty much most of it contains these round balls. Some of them not even cracked open. They come out completely whole if they don't munch down on them. But there are no more marulas for the elephants to eat, just leftover nuts. Well, not even nuts, actually, just the shell, or just the seed, the actual seed itself from the squirrels. Collecting them and storing them. Now, I haven't seen any more evidence of these elephants, so I wonder if they didn't just sort of go between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams, maybe moving a little bit further north. So Chelepan might be a good spot to check a little bit later, but while they're moving through the thicket, it's impossible for us to get in there. But we've arrived at Treehouse Dam now. So let's take a look and see if there's anything waiting at the water. Otherwise, I think we might poke our nose into the hyena den while we're up around the side. No, there isn't much this morning. It doesn't look like those elephants have even come down here to have a drink. There are some magpie shrikes, though, just sitting at the top of the tree over there, and they're actually making a beautiful call this morning. Have a little listen. That is most certainly a welcoming sound in the bush. I did also hear the drumming of a woodpecker. How lovely is that? Shoo! There must be an entire family of these living here, because we can see the two that are calling at the moment, but there's some more, I think, hiding in a marula tree elsewhere. This is a big chorus of them calling today. How beautiful is that? Now, it's a pity we don't have the morning golden light sort of shining upon them, because that could be quite nice, of course, but we're quite cloudy, so I don't think we're going to see much of the sun at all. And Annie was talking about the clouds a little bit earlier, and that's what's keeping, of course, all the warm air in. So it isn't really too cold at all. I think I'm going to actually have to take the gloves off now. Dare I say my hands are getting too warm. Okay. Alright, let's go check the southern road, and then we're going to go to the hyena den and see what we can find around there. Maybe, by some small chance, I'm going to actually have luck today. So we're going to see a whole bunch of hyenas. That would be very nice. I haven't seen one for a while now. Just, of course, what was I going to say? I just keep hearing them, that's what I was going to say. We haven't even had any hyenas come through camp. Ribbon hasn't been there to try and scavenge whatever she could. even seen the genet that lives around camp. It's actually been fairly quiet in terms of the animal life. We just have our regular visitors during the day. The hornbills, red and yellow ones come, as well as the birchals and the Cape glossy starlings, and then occasionally a gang of arrow-marked babblers pop through too. Now, Chitty Chatty, oh, I've got good news. We're on the trail of some elephants, by the way. There's some tracks going this side. So, Chitty Chatty are wondering if it's normal at this time of the year for the animals to disappear. It's not necessarily that they're disappearing, they're just moving off trying to find better grazing. And I've said this a couple of times, so sorry if it sounds like I'm repeating myself all the time. But it's very important to understand that the grazing sort of palatability is better elsewhere at the moment. So down, like I said, around the Sabi and the Sand River is really good. Around the Crocodile River as well, it'll be really nice. And all the way up into northern Kruger, around Palabora, even into Satara, it is so lush there at the moment, and there are many big open plains, and particularly in the Satara area in the Kruger National Park. So when you've got those massive, beautiful open plains with lots of river systems around, grass is really good. So why would you want to be, say, in an area, for instance, like where we are driving right now, just in this little patch where you can see it's sort of quite shrubby, it's wooded, the grass is yellow, it doesn't look too nice, it doesn't have that healthy green tinge to it anymore. They're going to eat as much of the nice stuff as they possibly can, and then only resort to coming into the areas where the grass is less palatable, the trees are less palatable, when they absolutely have to. So we'll get there. I think the sightings are going to start becoming really good in the next month or so. So I think give it till the end of June, and then we'll start seeing the big herds of buffalo returning, maybe some big larger groups of elephants, and with the return of the buffalo, of course, means a return of lions. So that's quite exciting. But it seems as though Ali and I are on the search for the great elephant. Who will be the first one to find it? Let's go see how far Ali is.
Well, I'm not too sure how far I am, but at least we have good signs around here. We've been following lots of tracks. Initially, it started with the tracks for a very big male coming all the way from the Buffelshoek boundary, coming all the way south. And then, now we've got, sorry, I've just got to put this thing that keeps popping out of my pocket. And now it seems like we've got a whole herd around here. So lots of dung. And I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different sets of tracks. All of them around here. And as you can see, beautiful droppings that I'm not going to pick up because these ones are quite fresh. And I don't really feel like getting them on my gloves. And then over here, some more droppings, some urine, and of course, some branches of some trees. So whenever you find them across on a road like this, very good chance that it was an elephant. And well, we've got the tracks, we've got the droppings, and they all seem to be headed in that direction. So that's where we're gonna go, see if perhaps we can find them. But another interesting track that we've got around here that I'd like to show you is this one. So you see here, it goes like this, almost like a snake, and then around here again, and then there's another one here. A lot of the times when the ellies are playing around here, especially the little ones, or they're looking for food, you know that they'll start going with their feet like this, and then they grab the branches or the grass and they go with their trunk like this just to shake it off. So often they'll leave their trunk tracks on the road. So we've got here and here and here. I think it's a bit tough to see, but I'll trust that you guys will trust our word for it, that all of their trunks have been here. So, onwards and forwards. See if maybe we can find them. Because I think maybe, you know, now that Tristan the elephant whisperer is on leave, maybe the elephants think it's nice for them not to come and say hello to the rest of us. Which I'm not 100% sure why. Let me plug myself in. There we go. And we'll carry on looking for very big, beautiful, giant grey things. I wonder, I would really like to see a tiny little one, won't you guys? A tiny little baby ellie, just, you know, full of nonsense as they are, always pretending that they are bigger. Wonder if that is something that we do, all species. Like, we always want to grow up and pretend that we're bigger and stronger and just scare everybody off, and then as soon as we're big and older, we're like, no, I want to go back. Take me back to being a toddler. I wonder if elephants have that too. I'm sure they do. They're such clever creatures. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually more intelligent than us. Funny enough, I was reading an article, I think a few years ago. I think it was by a researcher at the Frankfurt Zoological Society, if I'm not mistaken, and they were doing some studies as to try and figure out why the gestation period of an elephant is so long. Besides the obvious, because it's a very big animal, you know, it takes a lot of time and so on. So apparently, and I'm not too sure how they managed to prove this, I think it was with very interesting technology that my brain doesn't quite comprehend, because a lot of neurological stuff, but the results showed that part of the reason why an elephant gestation period is so long is because they need to form a brain that is capable of understanding already from birth the very complex social dynamics that there are in between the different herds. Isn't that amazing? I just couldn't believe it. So they actually need to have a longer gestation period just to make sure that they have a brain that is very well formed in understanding their social behavior. I thought that was incredible. We've got a starling that's flying there onto the side of the road. Let's see if maybe we can see the pretty colors of it. But yeah, so that just to me, that, you know, it was another sign that Ellies are just way too clever for everyone. Hello, starling. No, don't go. Oh, you're going to your friends. Okay, fine, we'll forgive you. Let's go a little bit here. Chitty chatty, you think elephants are smarter than humans too? Well, yes. Sometimes, you know, I just think that for all these animals to survive in the wild, they definitely have an edge of us, on us. Even if it's some strength, even if it's, you know, more intelligence or more instinct, I don't think we would be able to survive for just too long. I mean, look at those pretty birds. Yes, make your call. I think we're looking at a pair of Burchell starlings. Good morning to you too. And you can just see how the clouds are starting to disappear all around us. Look how pretty they look, almost like fluffy cotton balls in the sky. And I see a beautiful blue sky in between in there. Isn't that stunning? Oh, that is beautiful. Slowly but surely, you see how wonderful it is, how everything starts changing right before our eyes. And I'm sure that if we could do some sort of time lapse and just put, you know, focus it on the clouds, we would get some very stunning things. Right, there's another bird here that I'd like to show you, which is a bird that I don't know for what reason my mom struggles to remember the name quite a lot. I'm sorry, I was saying bad things about my mom, not you. Come back. Anyway, it's the magpie shrike, and I think she finds it to be a bit of a riddle. That's why she struggles with the name. You see all the way there, beautiful black bird with a very long black tail. Looking very regal this morning. Where's the rest of your family? Normally these birds, they live in groups, and often we'll find them with starlings or maybe babblers or other birds in a bird party. They'll keep an eye out for each other, and also they'll feed on the same thing, so it's a good association that benefits everyone. Look at those pretty feathers. It almost looks like a drongo, but with a very, very long tail. I'm very curious now that he's what he feels at a safer distance from us, and he's happy to be there. Alright, thank you for saying good morning. We're gonna carry on and see if perhaps we can come across some of those elephants. Up we go. And see what else there is around here. We can hear them calling around. We will carry on looking for our elephants, but in the meantime, let's go over to my dear friend Jamie in Kenya, who's got some spotted friends that she'd like to show all of you.
Say anything about a sync test, or she's just...
We
are here in the Masai Mara with the most incredible sighting. So Brent mentioned earlier that he felt as though there was murder and mayhem last night at some point at the foot of the mountain that we live on, and we have our answer. A bit of a gruesome sight for those of you with slightly easily upset stomachs, but an absolutely fascinating one. My name is Jamie. This morning Dave is on camera with me, just like he's on camera with Brent, because right now we have one vehicle and we're both in it. So it's still Dave on camera, and we are here at the base of the hill that the Masai Mara is. Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm talking about our camp, Ngama Mara, and our camp that is next to it. So, the hyenas came racing out. Brent heard them chattering this morning, and it looks as though they have killed a hippopotamus. So we don't know if they were responsible just without that hippopotamus's eye. Ooh. We strongly suspect that that was not removed by the hyena, but by a tawny eagle that is sitting by and waiting for its opportunity. And these hyenas are just filthy. Look at them. They are absolutely covered in mud. It's entirely possible that they at some point last night chased this hippopotamus into the muddy wallow. Hyenas here do hunt hippo. They have the numbers. Well, the clans in Djuma and in the Sabi Sand just don't really have, and they actually don't need to. But these, interestingly enough, these hyenas have been very, very skittish and constantly looking up and listening to the sound of the lions roaring in the distance. Abby, the hyenas here do indeed use dens here in the Mara. They just look slightly different because the termite mounds are not particularly large, and sometimes you can actually barely even see the termite mounds where they have their burrows. And the structure's slightly different. I've noticed a lot of very young hyenas wandering about with the adults. So obviously with the distances here that they cover and that they have to travel. Hey, you are filthy. Look at you. You're going to need a very big bath after that. Whoa! King of the castle. With the distances they have to travel, I think that I presume the cubs come out younger and start to follow the clan at a younger age. That's something that we're going to see as we spend more and more time with them and as we communicate with the researchers that have been studying these hyenas for a long period of time. If you would like your question answered in the same way, don't forget to send it through on #SafariLive on Twitter. Now, Shaylin, of course you will have heard the nickname of the spotted hyena, which is the laughing hyena, and you want to know if hyenas really laugh. They do. It's not actually them laughing. They're not laughing because it's comic. The sound that they make, hyenas are very vocal creatures. The sound that they make it sounds like people cackling away. And they usually do it at times of sort of heightened excitement, especially around a kill, which obviously led to the idea and of course contributed to the terrible reputation and stigma that surrounds hyenas. Although, I mean, this one's really not... as it wanders through the mud, not really portraying the image of the intelligent, fantastic creatures that they truly are. But they do laugh, they cackle, and it's a fascinating sound. We've also heard them talking to each other the whole morning. Low sounds, sort of growling sounds. And interestingly enough, sound I've never heard from our sand hyena, at least while I've been there, and actually any hyena that I've seen in South Africa, a low vibration. It's I can't really imitate it. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's a sound that I've never heard before, and hopefully in the course of our time here in Kenya we'll be able to capture that sound on camera. Now, this is a serious meal, but there's lots of hyenas here too. There's about 10 of them. Just hold on a second. There's a hyena calling, and the others are responding. Let's just see if they call. From far away. Talking to each other. There's the one on the right, Dave, that's calling. calling back to the hyena that was whooping far to the distance, back towards the mountain. Don't you think it sounds a little bit different? Obviously that was a contact call rather than a territorial whoop. That is the sound that hyenas are, spotted hyenas at least, are most famous for. Ooh. It's one of my favorite sounds in the world. And there must be about 8 that I can see. Molly, you want to know why do hyenas have larger numbers in the Mara? Prey density, I think, would be the big answer to that. There's just more food. There's more food to support them. There's more availability. And even though competition with lions is rife, it's high. There's lots and lots. Dave, look at that hyena over there on its back. Can you get all the way to it? Yeah. As I said that, it stopped, of course. Competition with lions is rife, but there's enough food to feed all of them. So that's why the numbers are much, much higher here. The numbers of general game are 10 times higher than you would see the prey density here. Where are you off to? Look at there. You can see the excitement in the raised tails. What have you seen? I love hyenas. It's going to be so much fun getting to know the different dynamics. Oh, they're running towards a hyena that's on the top of the crest. Or not quite, sort of halfway up that first. Can you see it there, Dave? Yeah. There we go. They're racing off. That must have been the hyena that I heard calling. And they're racing off in that direction. Let's see how far they get, though. Because I'm not sure that they're going to be able to... Oh, they're not going to be too bothered about racing all the way there with full bellies full of hippopotamus. Now, speaking of our poor deceased hippopotamus, I think it was Robert. The communication from FC is quite soft, but apparently it was Robert. Robert, you want to know how many hyenas it would take to have killed this hippopotamus? I don't know. I've got no idea, and it's hard to judge with this sort of a bloated, muddy carcass. I would guess and say you'd need about 20, probably even more, depending on what sort of situation you have. Brent is saying he thinks less. He thinks 10. From the researchers. Okay.
They've seen takedown.
Okay. Brent's been speaking to the hyena researchers. He said they've seen as few as 10 hyena take down a hippopotamus. That must have been a serious battle when you think about the sheer difference in weight. From even these hyenas are a little bit smaller. So what would we say? 60, 70 kilogram hyenas up against an animal that can weigh up to 2 tons? There's a massive difference in weight, and the fact that 10 of them can actually coordinate to do that just gives you an idea of just how intelligent hyena truly are. Because that takes really powerful social intelligence and coordination to be able to pull off a stunt like that. They don't, unlike lions, they don't have the advantage of sheer bulk and size. Someone's taking an opportunity to go and feed off the hippopotamus while everyone else is gone. Still thinking about it though, because of course, to get to the hippopotamus, you've got to go into the slippery mud. Waiting for all of the other hyenas to go. It's obviously had a chance to feed. Looks like a youngster to me. Doesn't look like an old hyena. Here's this dark hyena. There's a couple of them. There's 2 that I suspect were quite high ranking, and they've been watching the whole time, listening to the sounds of the lions calling. Oh, in you go. Is that a bit slippery there? You understand the tentative approach. It's not all that easy, and it does involve getting just a little bit dirty. And Mika, who is one of our 8-year-old viewers, Mika, welcome. I hope you are having fun. Mika, you want to know if hyenas will clean themselves in the same way that cats do. Not really. To be honest, Mika, hyenas aren't particularly bothered by the whole idea of personal hygiene. It's very possible to see a hyena covered in caked-on day-old mud. They don't seem to be too bothered. They wait for it to dry. They'll roll it off a little bit. What they will do is they will roll around and sort of scrape their fur on the ground. But I think they do that more for the comfortable feeling that it gives them and the fact that it scratches their skin rather than to try and clean themselves. And you don't really see hyenas do a lot of allo grooming. They touch each other. So what I mean by that is they don't groom each other in the way that lionesses do. They'll go up and they'll sniff each other, and occasionally you might see 1 or 2 licks, but you don't see the same bonds. You only really see grooming between mothers and cubs. You don't see it within the different members of the clan. Darby, can we go back up to where those hyenas? I was wrong. They've all gone racing up the hill. Let's go see what they're doing.
You got them.
If you go a little bit to the left there, about halfway up the hill. Wait, where are you? There you go. If you go to the top where that tree is, the tree that's sticking out at the crest, yeah, and go a bit to the right. You can see them there. There you go. There you go. Yo, that's very far away. And there are lots and lots of hyena all over that crest. It gives you an idea of the numbers here. Somebody's got something that they're eating and chewing on. Looks like a leg. So probably not from our hippopotamus, actually. And that hyena looks as though it's got the bulk of the meal. I wonder if they didn't kill something else as well last night. I think so. They could easily have caught a zebra. We saw them chasing a zebra foal yesterday. And coordinating in a way that's powerfully intelligent, and I suppose for some people might be considered quite sinister, in the way that they chased them onto the slippery, muddy roads and up into the rocks of the mountains where they actually couldn't get up the bank. And you could see the panic in the zebra while we were watching them last night. Look at this, there's just hyenas everywhere. Off they go, racing along. And now they're whooping. Awesome. We're going to have the most amazing hyena sightings here in the Mara, but there's also amazing things to be found on Djuma. Let's go and see what luck Ali has had.
We are super happy because we have found some lucky beans. I was so excited I nearly jumped off the vehicle and Craig looked at me like I was definitely going crazy. So, this beautiful plant that we're looking at, it is one of my favorite colorful things around, and part of the reason is because people think that it originated here in South Africa, but we also find it in tropical areas like where I come from. So, let me just show you a bit more clearly, if I don't die in the process first. This beautiful, beautiful plant, let me just, maybe this one it's easier. So it has very beautiful, bright purple flowers during the summertime and spring, but then as it dries out, then it reveals this very beautiful seed. So you see, it's that typical seed. If you've ever gone to any tropical areas, you'll see lots of people will sell them on the sides of the roads, and they're black where they are attached to the pod, and then they are red where they are not. I think there might be some more down here that have maybe fallen off. I'm just gonna grab a couple of seeds just so that I can show you guys a bit better. Oh, I think I only managed to grab 2. Come, little seed, come be famous. Alright. It's a bit of a complicated area. So if you see here, tiny little, can you see them from there, Craig? Okay, so tiny little seeds, very beautiful red color around here, and then the tip where they were attached to the seed you see is black. So like we have learned, pretty much everything in nature that has a very bright color, you've got to think twice before you eat it or you do anything with it. And this tiny little seed is actually very, very, very poisonous. So funny enough, you see it hangs from the plant, and a lot of the times they give it to children to use as a toy. But if ingested, my goodness, the things that would happen to you, you get, apparently your bowels can swell, and you get very bad stomach pains and colics and diarrhea, and you can start vomiting, and eventually if you eat too many of them, you could potentially die from them. This is how dangerous they are. So I know them as lucky beans. I was shown them by one of my Shangaan friends that says that I just had to keep these ones in my pocket if I ever wanted to find good stuff or whatever it is that I was looking for. So I believe some of the guys have found some potential lion tracks heading into Vuyatela, so I'm gonna hold on to this ones, and maybe they will, send Taylor very, very good luck. So, seeing we're working as a team, I'm keeping one for her and one for me. And that way, hopefully we'll be able to see more things. But they only start coming or becoming obvious now during the winter time. And like I said, when everything is nice and yellow, something that's that bright orange or bright red will definitely strike. And because they are a creeper, you don't always find them. They'll grow mixed up with the vegetation and around everywhere else. So the fact that we saw them over the long grass, we were very, very excited about it. So, we are armed with the lucky beans. Maybe that will bring us some luck too, so that we can see some pretty elephants. But yay! Very pretty. I'm so happy we found them. Funny enough, when I was studying conservation, or doing my master's in conservation, there was, and now that it's World Environment Day, this is probably a good time to mention this. But let me just these questions first. Yes, lots of animals eat them. Birds, antelope, and humans eat the leaves quite a bit. So they'll boil them, add a bit of eat them. So let me just stop here and just explain what I was saying before. So when I walked into this part of the course, we were doing a lot of plant conservation that I thought was quite interesting, because you normally don't hear much about it, but it opened my eyes to a brand new world. And all around the world, there are a lot of seed banks. So very big areas. I think one of the biggest one is actually found in Finland or Norway, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's another one in England that is part of the Kew Gardens. I think they are associated to it. So they do, it's almost like it's not almost, it's a cryogenic freezing that they do of the seeds, just to be able to make sure that if all of the plants or certain species of plants go extinct in the wild, and that they'll be able to grow them again from the seed. So they have massive like chambers, I want to call them, because I don't know what else they would be, or rooms of just millions of tiny seeds at very, very low temperatures, because they've discovered that it's actually the very low temperature that manages to prevent the seed from going rotten and just not being able to germinate. So when we walked into this massive seed bank that we were looking at, the first image of one of the biggest plants that was there was actually the lucky bean. And I was feeling a bit homesick about Africa, and it was very cold, and I just wanted to come back into the beautiful sunshine. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, the lucky beans are here. This is a sign from above. So I always remember that, and it was quite funny. I think my friends thought that I was going a bit crazy. They were like, so you're so excited about something that can kill you? But I was like, yes, but it'll bring us luck. So at least if I die, it'll be a lucky death. Let's go over to Taylor and hopefully send some of our luck to her. I think she's in that direction, so we're going to send it over there and see how she's doing. But I feel she's looking at something gorgeous.
You're quite right in thinking that I'm looking for something gorgeous, but I haven't found anything just yet. I've found the sun though, and I suppose that's gorgeous enough. And Ellie, a big thank you for finding lucky beans. Let's hope it turns our luck around, because it's been exceptionally quiet this morning. But isn't that lovely? Just the clouds moving very slowly across the sun. It makes for some beautiful rays of light, and I don't think that these clouds are going to be here for too much longer. The sun seems to be powering through them, and they shall all burn away. I'm sure we'll have a clear afternoon for the sunset safari. Now we've got some interesting news that's been developing Let's keep going, because I'm worried that we're not wasting time. Wasting time you do not do when you're out in the bush. But I want to check a few more areas. Is that one of the guides from the east actually gave us information that there were some male lion tracks coming north, I think out of Little Gowrie, and we're sort of crossing, and looked like they were going to cross in on Vuyatela somewhere. So I have been checking. Obviously driven Shibamu, Treehouse Dam and all those roads quite a significant amount. So what we've done now is we've come up along Zoe's Road, and I'm just checking here, and we're basically going to head back towards Impala Plains. That is a sneaky secret spot. The lions often just go and rest in all the quarry thickets, and then we sort of don't even know that they're there. So we're going to go and check there. Here's the Belanites tree. Hello, Belanites tree. Look how beautiful it is. I love the way that the bark sort of twines around like that. Isn't that so beautiful? And it's also known as the torchwood tree. Now, Josh, you were wondering if there's a pride of lions that stay around in this area. Well, Josh, there used to be, but there's actually not just one, but there's a few prides. The Nkuhuma pride, the Styx pride, the Tsalalas. They all move around in this area, and it just depends where their food is going. So wherever the big herds of buffalo are moving, that's where the lions are going to go. And like I was saying earlier, I reckon that we should expect the return of the buffalo in the next couple of weeks, and then we can expect to see a whole lot more lions, which will be quite nice. But the Birminghams, on the other hand, have a different role. So they've got a massive territory. The girls sort of just move around as they please, whereas the boys are constantly going out and marking and defending their territories. They haven't had to defend them in terms of a battle, well, any battle that we've seen. I think most of the scars that Mfumo has got on his face is from his brothers, to be honest. So while they're marking or declaring their territory to the rest of the animals, and particularly the rest of the other male lions, is by roaring, and we're hearing that every single night. So they move from section to section, constantly patrolling, reaffirming their scent, shouting out nice and loud in the form of a roar. And by doing this, that will hopefully keep other male lions at bay. But it's not uncommon for them to just completely disappear out of the area. That happens all the time, and we just have to be patient. But like I said, who knows? They could be on the property somewhere. I did bump into one of the other guides, Jamie, and he said that there was a lot of activity around Elephant Plains for the Nguhumas. Well, actually no, I suppose it's difficult to tell, but there were some lioness tracks and some male lion tracks, but there were also male lion tracks disappearing into Chitwa. So we don't really know what's going on. It's quite difficult to keep tabs on these animals as they move around at night. We've seen how far the various animals can travel. I feel like I'm having deja vu for some reason. I feel like I've had this exact same conversation on this exact same spot of this road. It just feels so familiar to me. That was so random. So let's see, maybe we get lucky. You know what I'm actually going to try and look for today? I'm feeling a little bit peckish this morning. I think I'm going to move, when we move into Impala Plains area with all those quarries or the eucalypt trees that I was just mentioning that the lions like to lie underneath, I'm going to look for some of their fruit, and I think we're going to eat it. Senzo, I don't think you've tasted the guari fruit yet, have you? There we go. So we've got a first timer at the back who has never tasted the delicious fruit, and I'm going to probably, if I do find some, I'm going to eat them, and I'm going to have lovely purple lips for the rest of the morning safari. We shall do that. Okay, we're here. We're on Impala Plains, the big open area now. And it would have been a welcoming sight to see a big Birmingham just sitting with his head above all of this long grass. Nothing just yet, but we'll check for tracks just at the junction up ahead. Again, very nice soft soil, so if anything did come walking through here, we'll be able to spot it. But it's just here. Okay. Just check here, nothing. Let's go check this section. I'm going to jump out as well. Right, let's see who has been walking around here. Now, so I'm going to jump out and just have a quick look around here. Kat, you were wondering if it ever snows here. Not in this area, no. Unfortunately, does not get cold enough up here. If you go towards Drakensberg Mountains, then yes, you get some snow, quite a bit of snow in fact. And if you go down to sort of the Eastern Cape areas, there's Stateleville and places like that, some very, very small sort of farming communities, it gets ice cold. And then yes, then you start to see snow. There actually is very, very little that has walked here. It's not anything fresh from last night. Everything looks like it was here yesterday afternoon. There's some very sort of faded out and parlour tracks, some kudu tracks, and a couple of little dove tracks, but nothing that's clear enough that I think you're going to be able to see. That is unusual. It's so unusual. These roads have always got footprints on them. Obviously, the party was not here on Djuma last night. It must have been elsewhere. Okay, let's get plugged back in again. Let's continue. Let's just give it a bash anyway. You never know. Maybe they just, if anything did come through, they decided, nah, we're not going to walk on the roads today. We're going to make it a little bit more difficult for the guides, and we're going to walk on the animal pathways, which is fair enough. They do have them there for that reason. Right. Okay, now we go to checking. Ooh, an interesting request. You said it would be quite nice if we could see some snakes. I'm always open to seeing snakes. Senzo, are you a snake man? Yeah, he's nodding. He said, yep, bring on the snakes. So yes, if we do find any snakes, Violet will most certainly try and show them to you. But you've got to be quick with snakes. They move so quickly across the road, or if they are sitting down just off of the road, you've got to firstly you have to have great eyesight, but they don't hang around for very long. I think the best chances if we're going to see a snake would be maybe like a python or a puff adder. They seem to be not relaxed but reluctant to move, and we can probably have a view. Unless we find a little spotted bush snake or something popping its head out of a hole in a tree, coming out to warm itself up in the sun. That might be our only chances. Now we're in the area with all the guarri trees. I need to start searching the trees, shaking the bushes to see which ones have got berries on or not. Ali, however, has had some luck with her beans, and she's found herself a buffalo.
A buffalo that's transformed into a beautiful nyala. Isn't that the fluffiest tail that you guys have ever seen? To me, it almost seems like it should be an animal on its own. It's almost like a bunny or a rabbit or something else. Oh, there's gorgeous light just coming from the east, just onto the nyala. I think this is beautiful. I love it when they start walking like that. I'm going to try and see if maybe we can sneak closer to them. They are normally quite shy creatures that live in very thick vegetation. So I want to see if maybe we can get a bit of a closer look, because I think of all the antelope that I've seen, Impala and Nyala are my first choices. And I think it's just because the Nyala are so stunning. And with this light, girl, you look very nice. Ooh, I'm really trying to control myself here and not go too quickly. I'm not known for being the most patient person. I just get so excited. I just want to be there already. But let's see, maybe I think if we stop here, we'll have a very nice view of this beautiful girl. I think we're in presence of a mother and a youngster, and the youngster being the one that's behind. Well, not a youngster anymore, but still a sub-adult. So you see they're somewhere in between a kudu and a bushbuck, and they're in the same family. They've got the stripes of the kudu, but as well some of the spots of the bushbuck, and the very stunning big ears. That's a normal characteristic of all of them. And of course, a little mane at the top. Oh, there's the mother. Maybe she'll come into the frame. Hello. How are you doing? So it's not rare to find them in small groups. A lot of the times they're social creatures, but not that sociable. So loose association would be. Nancy, I don't think they're particularly nervous about anything, but they are not looking to relax. In that regard, you're right. I think they haven't decided exactly what they want to do, so maybe indecisive is a bit of a better word. Good morning, Hippo. We'll go to you in just a moment. We're just enjoying the view of these pretty girls that we don't see that often. Plus, the hippo's gone into the water, so I think maybe he was just grumpy because he wasn't the center of attention as usual. I just love them. I think they're such stunning creatures. And have a look at the way they walk. You will see that the back foot always goes where the front foot is. So you see, as she goes, bloop, right on right, left on left, and that is called registering the tracks. And a lot of these animals, they do it because it's a much more silent way of walking. They already know where the front foot has gone, so it's easier to put the back foot where the front has gone in case there are little leaves or anything. They live, like I said, they live in very thick vegetation, so they've got to try and be as quiet as they can just to make sure that nothing else spots them. Elissa, you want to know why the Nyala tail is so fluffy? I don't really have an answer for that. I wonder if it's maybe, you know, the same as the kudus, just when they lift them there's a bright white underneath and the tip of the tail is black, and just a follow me sign because they live in quite thick areas. But other than that, I'm not too sure. I think that is just one of the particular traits of the Nyala, like many tails, probably to ward off some flies and little flying creatures that might annoy them, but other than that, I'm not too sure if they've got any other function. But it is prettier, isn't it? It's almost like when you see the old tales of people carrying the rabbit legs of that very fluffy thing, and they're all around. Well, unfortunately these girls have gone into the Tamboti thicket over there, so I'm going to leave them in peace and just let them carry on with their day. But we've got, I don't know if you can focus, a very funny looking hornbill, and to me they always look like, you know, old men with very baggy pants that start walking around. Oh, now he's gone onto the grasses. Let's see if maybe this hornbill starts coming out again, and while we patiently wait for it, why don't we go back to Taylor and see if our lucky beans luck has gotten to her already.
They haven't, Ellie. I can't even find fruit on trees today. And look at all these guarri bushes just off to the left here. There are so many of them. Now, I think I got a little bit lucky on my last cycle because we found a tree that already had some berries on, and I ate a whole lot of them. And I think that might have just been an early batch, because I have checked quite a few of the trees now, and it seems like they're just starting to develop their berries, but they're still really tiny and still very green, so we can't eat them just yet. It'll take another couple of weeks of growing before they turn a delicious dark purple and also get to the nice plump size too. And this is guarri heaven here. There's just guarri tree after guarri tree after guarri tree. But not what we're looking for, but it's fine, we're going to keep searching. So we're coming back up towards Vuyatela access now, and we're going to check all the way around. I think we'll go down towards Sydney's Dam, have a little scan around there and see if there's anything about, but no lion tracks. So I don't know where these male lions are. Maybe they walked along Triple M, they didn't actually cross into Vuyatela, and perhaps they've gone north all the way into the Manuleti. That's going to be my guess as to what's happened, especially if we haven't seen any tracks here. But maybe we will pick them up. Oh, I'm just seeing what's happening on the Game Drive radio. What are they talking about? It sounds like there's some lions in Torchwood as well, somewhere around there, but I'm not sure exactly which pride they are referring to. Okay, let's check. Hello, hornbill. Little hornbill flying about as well. Oh my goodness, how is having all the luck today? It's crazy. Those beans are working exceptionally well. This time she's moved on from the Nyala, as you saw. They moved on from her, but she's got a hippo in the water.
Hippo with this gorgeous sunrise light that we still have going on. I think this was the boy that was a bit upset because we were paying all the attention to the pretty Nyala females that were walking around, and now he's in there. Hasn't made a sound since we last heard him laughing. I think maybe he's, playing the card that he's a bit offended and he doesn't really want to be our friend anymore. But I'm sure that's not the case. I think he's actually a bit sleepy. On the way we're at Buffelshoek Dam now, so on the way here we saw quite a few signs that the hippos had been around, a lot of dung on the way, and just in general trampled branches and of course tracks. So it's only him here. Last time I was here, there were another 3 hippos. So I wonder if the other three have potentially moved onto a water hole or another water hole, or if they are still grazing and are out and about. It wouldn't really be rare for them at this time of the year to still be out moving around, because it's not too hot, so why not? Tina, you're wondering what happens when a hippo is expelled from its pod. Well, normally it's just the boys that are expelled from the pod, the males that need to go and make pretty much a living for themselves. So they will normally just move on to, if they're in a river, they'll try to go into a different patch of river where they can either be tolerated by the dominant bull, or they'll just look for an area where there aren't too many hippos, see if maybe another pod will become tolerant of them. And that's normally the way it goes. Hippos don't really have very large territories in the water. I think maybe about 100 to 250 meters. So they're quite small, and they're only territorial in the water. So when they come out and start grazing, they'll have preferred paths that they use to come in and out of the water, and those are the ones that they mark. But they're not too bothered about the land. They're more bothered about the water, because they spend most of their time in there. Josh, sometimes yes, sometimes hippos can be aggressive to large vehicles. It depends on every situation, if they're feeling grumpy for any reason, if they've been stressed, if, there's been lions in the area. So you've kind of got to read the situation. Sometimes they are just a bit grumpy, but because of reasons that are not related entirely to the lodge. And sometimes also it depends if they've ever been exposed to a vehicle before, because in some areas you'll see it's not common or it's not easy for the vehicles to get access to where the hippos are. So they'll just see this big thing coming into the water and they don't quite know what it is. So that's when they can become slightly aggressive. When I was in Zimbabwe recently, it was in a particular park, Gwangi, that doesn't have a lot of water, and the hippos are not really, there are a lot of vehicles that come around, but they're not used to being viewed, especially on foot, too much. So if you park a bit too close to them, they'll start opening their mouths and, just doing this whole thing just to show who's the big guy around. And a lot of the times the best form of defense is offense. So they'll just show and advertise how big they are and how dominant they are, just to warn people, you're a bit too close, you're getting into my comfort zone, so just please stay away. So I think it depends. Hippos in the Sabisana and in this area that we're quite fortunate to drive around, they're very used to vehicles, and only every now and again do you hear of a hippo going rogue or just being a bit aggressive to a vehicle, but most times there's a reason behind it. So either they've had a rough night with lions, or they're protecting a calf, or it's a male that's trying to mate with the female and you've kind of gotten in the way. But I would say it's pretty safe to approach them on a vehicle, always remembering that you've got to keep a certain distance from them, because you don't want to start annoying them, and also you don't want to be in other animals' faces where you're right here, and then you can imagine that they're not going to be too happy about it. But these guys over here, I'm sure they're more than used to seeing their fair share of people. I think one good indicator that he's happy with us is the fact that he's gone down the water and now he seems to be sleeping. So he just pretty much had a last, oxygen and all the air going up his nose, and then all of them going down into the water. So I wonder, maybe we'll just carry on and leave him around here. I think this has been quite a lucky spot for us, but I'm keen to see what else is in store and what else we can find all around. I think these guys around here have been quite friendly to us, so let's carry on, see what other lucky thing we might find. Very pretty today. Very happy we came around here and saw so many things. Hang on a second. No, I thought maybe we were going to see some lapwing action, because there seemed to be flying around and fighting, but it was not. Let's see. Maybe we'll catch another glimpse into the secret life of Nyalas and the Tamboti thickets over here. What are these tracks here? kitty cat. Any albino animals in this area, you wonder? I haven't seen them, but there's a good chance, because I mean we are not too far from the Kruger boundary, so a lot of animals will come in and out. Just in the time that I've been in the Sabi Sand, I've seen a white duiker, so an albino duiker, and that one we knew for sure. But we've also seen a leucistic elephant. So the difference between those two terms, albinos are normally creatures that have no pigment, no melanin in their skin, so their eyes normally turn red because they don't have, like I said, melanin or pigment coloration in their skin. And leucistics are animals that have some melanin in their skin, so they'll still be of a whiter color, but perhaps their eyes will be of a lighter color, so they won't be red. You'll see them be with blue eyes, which is the case of the elephant. I think it was a buffalo somewhere.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. The gremlins, they're coming for us. Now, we just drove past Sydney's dam and had a look around there. Absolutely nothing. Not even the Egyptian geese that hang around there were home today. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to go down Gallagher shortcut. We're going to check around Gallagher Pan, and then we're going to go to Vuyatela Dam. So that is going to be my route from here. And then we'll weave around, then perhaps check Gari Cut Line. But it is fairly quiet, unfortunately, not just for us, but seems like everybody who's driving around in the Sabi Sand. But sometimes these mornings happen. We can't have it all glam or the glitz and glamour all the time. Sometimes we've got to take these quiet days as they come. Right, let's see. Look at this. I'm going to go back again. Reverse. Look at all the lovely round leaf teaks that are popping up. This is quite nice. Going to jump the car. Now, remember yesterday I said that I wanted to test the various types of trees to see what has the best bark. Obviously, we made silver cluster bracelets, which we know work exceptionally well. No, I'm not looking for that. But we are going to have a look and see what the round leaf teak bark is like. Now, this is absolutely delicious if you were an animal that likes leaves. Don't know what they taste like. Let's choose one that's not covered in dust. Let's see if it has a particular delicious taste to it. Nah, I don't think I would ever order a round leaf teak. So give that a skip. I'd rather go for something else. I actually think even the buffalo thorn leaves taste a little bit better than that. But the animals love it. The elephants really do favor upon it. Normally what we see them doing, and we're going to start to see this behavior develop, is that they snap branches just like this. You can see that snap quite easily. Pull it off. They will remove all of the leaves, just like so. They'll eat them. They'll do it in a swift movement, though, probably putting it in their mouths and pulling it out. And then the next part is my absolute favorite, and I can't wait to start watching it again, is when they pop it in their mouths like this, and they turn it. And they do that sort of corkscrew action all the way through their mouths, and completely strip the bark, and they leave it completely bare. Now, this is always my tractor's favorite choice of tree to use as a pointing stick. So when I misbehaved, he used to be able to just reach over and then whack me on the head and tell me to start concentrating if I was missing tracks as well. So, but I'm just joking, he didn't ever do that. Cat is too sweet. But let's see what the bark is like. So it's obviously quite a young branch. These trees, surprisingly, it's hard to believe, but they can get really tall, but unfortunately the elephants never really let for them to get too big. I've seen probably about 3 giant, not giant, but just taller than 2 meters of these round leaf teaks. But like I said, the elephants get to them. So straight away, this as I start peeling away the bark over here, I'm going to come a bit closer. It's not that great. It's great for the elephants, they love it, but for us to make a barrel of some sort, and I'm dirty again. Let's see, because of the cluster leaf, what you do is you snap it, and then you can pull quite easily. You can't really do that with this one at all. So this is not going to work very well at all to make a bracelet. Let me just check. I'm just pulling this inside layer away now. Let's see. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it's that good. It's too much actually effort to have to sit and pull it away. As you can see, it breaks quite easily. It's not as tough as the silver cluster. Right, be gone, stick. That don't use to make rope. We won't be using that one. We'll try a couple of others. We'll have to see if we can find some young bush willow as well and see if that works. Bush willow's got really good wood though. So does the teak wood. Okay, let's carry on. Let's continue with our mission. We need to go all the way through here. Oh, finally! Ellie, you are on an absolute roll today, and I'm so happy for you that you're getting to find all these animals. But Ellie's been searching hard for elephants. She's finally got them.
Ralph, there's another Slambi and Lobo static feeding just on the junction of Nyala Road and Guariban. Alright, yay! I'm so excited. I'm not going to move too much because obviously they're quite close and I don't want to disturb them, but we have finally found or heard of elephants. Very, very excited to finally see them. We've been looking for them the whole morning, so I do think the lucky beans played a part in this. And just what a privilege it is to see Ellie's again. There's always something to them. I enjoy watching them quite a bit because you see they'll be just eating, but I don't know, I find them such interesting creatures to look at. Now, we've got a female in front of us. You can see. But also, we've got a youngster. So he is just being a bit shy, but it would seem like he is going to come and cross into the road in front of us. So we're just going to stick around here and be slightly patient. Hello. It is funny, he's still at that age where the grass is still taller than him. Isn't that ironic for a tiny little elephant to be smaller than the grass? Oh, look at that, how interesting. If you had a look now, you see elephants tend to use or favor... Oh, that's beautiful. They tend to use one of their tusks more than the other one. So the one that is very, very bright white, that's probably the one that she uses the most. You can see it's a bit shorter and it's almost a little like nudge in there. So likely take the grass out of the ground or, you know, just to rip some of the plants. Oh. Hello, girl. Tiny little, I think it looks like a boy. I haven't been able to have a nice look. Oh, and she's missing the tip of her trunk. Sorry, Craig, I just noticed as she was moving now, and you know how elephants have almost like 2 fingers at the tip of their trunk? This particular elephant doesn't. So you see she's still doing quite well, and this calf is probably her own, and it's amazing just how even under times of stress and after missing a very important part of her body, she still manages to survive. And we can just see her there feeding on the side, and we've got the little one just feeding very close to us as well. Her flapping of the ears could be an indication that she's starting to get hot. Ah, hello. And somebody here is being naughty and breaking this tree, aren't you? Yes, I was talking about you, young man. Very brave. Oh, look at all the wrinkles on his body. Curdy, they use their big ears for a couple of different things. One of them is obviously to hear better, to hear everything that happens better, because they act like giant satellite dishes. You can see on that one over there just how big it is. So imagine all the noises around us just get channeled into their ears. And another important thing that they use it for is to cool down. So you see the ears are and capillaries, and there's just a lot of blood flow in there. So when it's very, very hot, you'll see that the elephants, their skin in particular at the back of their ear, is very thin. So they start moving their ears, flapping their ears just to get some air to cool down the blood. So as the blood carries on flowing through the rest of the animal's body, then it cools them down. And on days like today where it's a bit cold in the morning, you'll see this particular one, he's still not a bit too cold. So just to preserve some heat, what they do is they put their ears flat against their body just to make sure that there's no heat escaping anywhere. And a lot of people think that it's wonderful also that the ears have a rough shape of Africa because, you know, this is the African elephant. So it's almost like a full circle. Everyone wears proudly the signs from where they're from. Then we've got another youngster here. Alyssa, a lot of the times you just need to look at their ears or their general shape to find out how old they are. I think this one in front of us is probably around 4 years old, maybe 5 I can say. But a good indicator is just to see or compare them to their moms. So you see we've had 2 youngsters coming in front of us and they're definitely of different shapes. So this one might be around 5 years old and the other one, you're just being a bully now, pushing your brother away. I think they're not feeding in the most convenient spots. So I wonder, I'm gonna let them carry on. Maybe we'll be able to see them as they walk through. But a very good trick, especially if you're looking at tiny little elephants, is to see how well they can fit underneath their mother. So when they're about a year or less than a year old, they'll be able to be underneath their mother or just reach the top of their mothers. Because when they are born, their skin is still quite sensitive to the sun, so often they will be on the
have him. Ooh. Right, we just had a kudu bull, but unfortunately he's disappeared into a block of pelsothorums, African wattles, and sorry about that, the gremlins are not enjoying, well, they are enjoying us today. We're not enjoying them so much. I think you can maybe see him. There he disappears. He's not going to hang out for too long, unfortunately, but he's a beautiful specimen of a kudu bull nonetheless. He's got a lovely wide splay of horns, lots of twists and turns in them, and he is in perfect condition too. He's looking very, very healthy. Nice big neck, big shoulders, and powerful hindquarters. I think they have to be the most athletic antelope in the bush, in my opinion. How's that? Imagine being able to jump 3 meters high from a complete standstill. Very impressive. We changed our route slightly, but I'm sure that you are not surprised. We actually came down in Bubu Road. It didn't look like anybody had driven down here this morning, and I've seen a combination of tracks. I've seen leopard tracks, male leopard tracks come through here, so I wonder if Tungana didn't walk along here at about, I think it was about 9:30 last night. He did quite a big saw, and it didn't sound like it was too far away from camp either, so maybe he came moving down this road. No lioness tracks though, but a lot of hyena activity along the road, so this must have been where the hyenas were playing around last night. So we'll go here, we'll check at WildEarthTV Dam, and then I think we'll go back towards the hyena den and give it another bash. When I went through there earlier, unfortunately there was no sign of them. There were some tracks where they had been laying down, but that could have been from later. No warthogs!